Welcome to Bus Patch. We're an intentional community of people who live in vehicles. Some people have their own vehicles, some people live in vehicles that the group owns. Some people bring a vehicle, upgrade it, and then leave. We provide shared amenities. Everyone here shares water, power. We share the lot, which is a secure place for people to park instead of on the street. We also work on projects together. This is my bus. I've lived in here for about a year and a half. I got this February of last year. So one of the reasons I upgraded to a vehicle this big was so that people could hang out.
You say upgraded, what was your vehicle before?
I had an ambulance before this, which was the smallest vehicle I could find that I could stand up in. I was traveling in that, got to San Francisco, decided to upgrade once I decided to stay here. Had some engine trouble, decided to buy a replacement, got the other two buses as replacements, had 3 buses, either need to sell 2 of them or start Bus Patch.
What's behind the curtain back there?
Behind the curtain is the bed. Neat thing about a transit bus, none of the seats touch the ground. They all are built off the walls, which is a really nice mechanical feature of a transit bus, and one of the reasons I picked transit buses originally. We have some storage overhead. I rearranged a few of the rails and put some shelves up there. On my Burning Man trip 2 years ago, people actually slept up there. Let's head this way and see some of the residential spaces. Hey, Dan.
Oh, hi, Dan. I didn't see you show up.
So the first thing I'm going to show you is our bunk room. 2 to 4 people share this space on separate bunks. It's our least expensive place for people who don't have their own vehicle. It's our guest room sometimes. People who are here for less duration also stay in here. Let's all come in. So this is our bunk room. There are 4 bunks in here. You're sitting on one of them that's currently not occupied, which is why it doesn't have a curtain. Over here we have one. One of our residents lives here. They've got a twin-size mattress in here right now, which is a little bigger than the bunk. What we have in here is either half of a queen mattress or a semi-truck sleeper cab mattress, which is 30 inches wide. That's what you're sitting on, and we're going to get more of those to match the bunks. In the back here, we have 2 more bunks. Currently, 1 person is occupying this space as a sort of bedroom. But eventually, we would have 4 people in here with less storage, more storage, and dedicated storage spaces. Above your head, there's a shelf, which is actually the ductwork from when the bus was still a bus. This room also has a bunch of plants in it because one of the people who lives in here likes plants.
So I arrived 1 month ago. Before to arrive to America, my dream was to live in one RV, and I didn't do it actually. After 2 years now, I didn't do it, and I felt like it was a time for me. If I don't do it now, I felt like I would never do it. And it was amazing. I felt really welcoming, and I felt like the people here. It was mostly my first experience was a human experience with the people who were living here. My goal was to be more connected to the nature in general. So, and have sustainable energy. Like for example, here we have the panel solar, which for me is very important. It's like every day when we live in the city, it's like we take the energy of the earth with that to have really the consciousness of what we are doing, like all the pollution that is behind it. From our normal life in the city, we use too much energy and too much pollution. This is so cool because you can eat your dinner and see the stars and have the fire, and this kind of like a full specific experience that you can't have a lot in San Francisco. What I like about Bus Patch is like this ability to be anywhere where we want. Everything is on wheels, so we can go pretty much wherever we want. So it's kind of freedom that all the time, that is for me, is very important.
So now you're going to see one of the half a bus rooms. Currently there's a couple living in this room, but it could be for 1 person as well. Everyone come inside.
Wow.
This space is what we consider to be 1 room. It's half of a 40-foot bus, 20 feet from front to back, 8 feet from side to side. This one actually has the wheel wells in it, so it loses a little bit of space, but they use those as tables and shelves, so that works out. They've put in a platform for a bed with some storage underneath. We take out all of the seats. We leave in the rails unless someone asks us to take them out. They're good for hanging clothes and lights and stuff from. Otherwise, the decoration is just what the residents have wanted to do. It's a blank canvas for them as long as they don't damage it, just like a room in an apartment might be. towards the front of the bus is still the driver's seat and such, which the people in this bus have to leave available so that we can easily drive the bus if we have to. Let's head out and see another space.
David, what you working on?
My laptop charger broke and I'm really bad at soldering.
So-
Like, I did solder and the solder wasn't doing, so now I'm just gonna try to rip it open and see if I can do something else, or... So that's where I live.
How long have you been living in your vehicle?
On and off for like a year and a half.
What gave you the idea to do that?
I wanted to travel and be able to sleep while on the road.
So what do you like about living in Bus Patch?
There's always food around. That there's hot running water. I love living in my truck, and it's a good community. It's kind of small. It's like 7 to 9 people, but it's good folks.
What was the thing that surprised you the most about living in Bus Patch?
I guess how good Spar is at auctions.
Alright, accidentally bought this boat at an auction when we were getting our bathroom facilities.
Huh? It came with the trailer, I
Came with the
assume.
trailer.
That's important.
We only buy things on wheels.
Right.
And then we go inside and you can see what the inside of a small cabin boat looks like.
Right.
So this is the cabin of the boat. So mostly this is just a space for someone to occupy right now. Normally it would house 1 to 2 people. In an emergency it can house 6. This is the dining area. The table has been dropped down to make a twin size bed. This would normally be a seating area for 2 to 3 people. It can also sleep 2 people.
Okay.
If you look down there, it's actually full of stuff, but there's another sleeping area under the pilot's feet. Sink, fridge, electric stove, isopropyl alcohol stove.
Nice.
Is it seaworthy?
It will float. It has no holes in the bottom. It has a few holes in the top, which is to say the roof leaks a little.
Okay.
But it needs an engine to be seaworthy too.
It has an engine. The engine fires but won't keep running. I think it has a carburetor problem that we're going to try to address once we're a little better equipped for working on that sort of thing.
Oh,
Good.
cool.
Also, its batteries are currently out. We're using them in our solar power array.
Oh,
We're going to step back down.
Awesome.
Okay. You want to go first?
This scaffold also came from the auction where we got the boat and the bathroom.
Wow.
It's just a handy thing to have laying around for accessing stuff that needs a ladder.
I got to Bus Patch in the beginning of September. That's when I decided to start living here. The first time I came to Bus Patch was maybe in May. It had a really good framework and I really liked the idea. They started with nothing. And the first day that Bus Patch existed, it did not have a toilet. So you could park your car here, but then you had to like go to the store or walk to the gas station if you wanted to use the bathroom, right? Which is the same if you live in a car. I was really impressed that there were so many people who had the technical knowledge to do things like hook up solar panels and wire batteries, plumbing, and they knew how to do a lot of like heavy equipment manipulation. And I thought, wow, I don't know any of this, and this is all really impressive. But there were a lot of things that were wrong that I knew how to fix that were being neglected because I think the people here were preoccupied trying to solve all these big engineering challenges. I thought, this is really cool, but it would be cooler if I was the manager. If I can learn how to manage a community of people who have to also manage their own sustainable resources, this is a skill that I can take to people who really need it desperately. My hope is to go from Bus Patch to something like Engineers Without Borders.
Next on the tour is our bathroom facilities. We have a porta potty. You step up this way, you can see our bathroom. We have a shower, we have a toilet, and we have a sink. The toilet is functional, but the drain has a leak, which is why we're not using it. The shower has running cold and hot water at 0.5 and 1.5 gallon per minute. Outside, there's a propane tank that we have to turn on to get hot water.
You even have exhaust fan.
Exhaust fan and a window so that we can keep, it doesn't get too foggy and moldy in here.
Nice.
The bathroom container is something meant for a construction site. The trailer is a regular trailer.
Oh, okay.
The waste tank is something you get from a porta potty company.
What we have here is a flat tire with a bathroom on top. Held up by a pallet.
on-demand propane hot water heater. We have cold water, and it is awesome. And we have hot water.
What?
It is exceptional, and it is not quite too hot to touch, but I would happily take a shower in that.
Success!
Okay. In here, we have clean, non-drinkable water.
This is an IBC. That stands for something like interchangeable beverage container.
Showering, dishwashing, hand washing.
It's essentially a cage that can be moved with a pallet jack or a forklift, into which you could put any sort of beverage, but for us we're putting fresh water. We have the cage on a trailer.
The trailer has its feet out to hold the weight of the water. We can only move it on its wheels when it's less than about a quarter full because of the weight capacity of the trailer.
The trailer was actually a highway sign trailer, one of those arrow signs that points people around construction, but we hacked up the sign. We took the batteries out of it, and they're part of our solar power rig right now.
This holds about 250 gallons. That gets us through a few weeks of regular usage. We go get it by filling up these 55-gallon drums. Then we bring it back. We use the same pump. We just swap the hoses, pump water out of the drums into the tank. Again, we don't drink this. We do drink, I'm sure you're familiar with regular 5-gallon delivery water. Costs more per gallon. The bonus is we get sterilized containers and clean water every time. So over here we have storage of large things that we need around the lot. Hoses, power cords, lights, work gloves, ratchet straps, rope, anything that we need in bulk for managing the lot, improving the vehicles, etc. I built this rack so that we could get into them without having to pull them all the way out.
Oh, right.
It works pretty well.
Okay, Spar, you're on camera. Spar's building. Spar, tell us what you're building.
A ladder.
No, what are you really building?
No, really, it's a ladder. See? This is fine.
This is the least functional ladder I've ever seen. Oh, it's working. Well, you've built an effective ladder. Does it do anything else?
Not really.
Oh, for crying
the
out loud.
idea is there will be more than one of these in a row, and you'll be able to take bins and slide them in like they were drawers. And then there'll be another one here, and this one will be double-sided, and you pull the drawer out. There's actually going to be room for, I think, 8 bins in the first thing.
That's amazing. I love it. Thank you, Spar.
I would like to make them a little more modular so they slot together next time.
Like IKEA furniture.
Yes, that would be wonderful. Or more Pliatech, which you'll see in a second. Over here we have our fire pit social area.
Prettier with that. There we go.
You're sitting on Pliatech furniture, which was all cut by a CNC router from some designs that were bought from a few burners that designed these to go to Burning Man. It's all made out of flat sheets that slot together. There's no screws, no fasteners. It's all just slotted together, which means moving this is going to be easy. It stacks flat, slide it into a truck, put it back together when we get where we're going.
It's great. I'm fine. Super happy. I want some Pliatech furniture.
They are nice. So when we do outdoor cooking and picnics and stuff, we have our grill out here. Drinkable water is also available out here, and we use the table for serving food.
Great.
If we turn around behind you, we have our dishwashing station. So over here, we have a foot pump powered utility sink. Uses the same water that was in the big tank. We just bring it over one small tank at a time. You hit the foot, some water comes out. It's not on tap at all, so you can never leave it running. We never waste it.
Spar is demonstrating our new hand washing sink, newly upgraded with a pallet. Everything on a pallet is really on wheels when you have a pallet jack. Ooh.
Certain things shouldn't be on wheels.
Wow, look at it go!
Our dishes here, it's a riff on the standard restaurant / Burning Man system. Here we have dirty water. This is for getting the food off of your dishes. Here we have soapy water. This is for cleaning your dishes. Here we have rinse water. This started out as just fresh water. Over the course of half of a week, it'll get a little dirty. This is our bleach water. There's a little bit of bleach for sanitizing the dishes when you're done. This water doesn't have to be changed out between uses. About twice a week, what we do is we throw this away as gray water. We clean this, We move it over here. All the others move one bin to the left. We put fresh, clean bleach water in there. We add some soap to this one because it's moved over, and that way
You're
we make sure
literally
we're using.
saving the ultimate amount of water.
We're
possible.
trying. We do
Wow.
8 people for 3 to 4 days with 4 gallons of
That's
water.
incredible.
And it works pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah, the most surprising thing was for me actually it was to clean the dishes. I thought that I would have a system to clean the dishes like kind of like a house, but it's totally different. So it definitely the process is very interesting. If I didn't see it, I would not think about it to do it like that. So yeah, it was the most surprising things.
The 3-sink system is pretty common in restaurants. We added the 4th
Right.
sink because we were finding that our wash water was getting a little too nasty with
Yeah.
food residue.
I can see that.
We're gonna head back to
really
storage next.
It's really good.
So this is our storage area. This is the hardest area to get to, but the place where the bulkiest things can be out of the way. All of this is available for people who want to do upgrades to their vehicles, their own vehicle, or just the one that belongs to us that they're staying in. So over here's our pallet racking. In the middle, we have our ladder to get up on top of one of our buses. I'm gonna head up there now.
Lock that up to the top one. Unlock
We put
that.
the ladder in the middle for safety reasons, so that if someone was to fall, they wouldn't be falling all the way up the top of the bus. So we've got kind of rails on the way up, all the way to the top.
This is probably less dangerous than it seems.
Significantly.
It's tied off for one thing.
You should try my ladder.
Also at parties, people can socialize on these layers, just get off in the mid-floor. All the way to the top. We do have plans to make social space up here. See the clean lines?
Yes.
Stand on the clean lines and you can jump up and down.
So that's where the structure of it is.
Yeah.
You can see it come through.
If you were to jump there, you'd probably fall through, so don't jump there.
Okay, I won't.
Okay, we're gonna talk about solar power. Up here, we have our solar panels. Right here is one of our small arrays. This was the first thing we set up. It's 400 watts on a frame that we built, made out of just perforated angle and some bolts. Over there, we have the same setup on top of our kitchen. On top of this bus over here, we have 4 pairs of large panels. Those are the ones that actually provide the bulk of the power at Bus Patch. We're gonna go down, we'll see the kitchen and shop bus next. It's messy, but I want it to look at least vaguely realistic. This is our solar power charging station and battery bank. Our solar panels are actually out on top of one of the other buses. They feed in here through a single pair of wires. Coming down these wires is up to 1800 watts of solar power. Comes in here at a variable voltage and a variable current. This device turns it into exactly the right current and voltage to charge our batteries. We have a 12-volt battery set up, so it produces about 13 volts depending on how charged the batteries are. Coming down from these wires, it puts out that 13 volts at however much current it can manage. Right here we have a DIY terminal block where we've just attached everything. From there it distributes to all of our systems. We have 2 6-volt batteries that pretend to be a 12-volt battery together. 3 12-volt batteries that came out of a highway flashing light sign, and 2 12-volt batteries that came out of my boat. All told, this system has about 40% of the capacity that it would have had when all these batteries were new. Both because some of the batteries are old, and because some of the batteries are in less good shape and are lowering the capacity of the other batteries by parasitic draw. But there's no battery that we can take out that would raise the total capacity. All our 12 volts power goes into this inverter. This inverter turns that back into a 110 AC, the same thing you would have in your house. If we need to switch to generator power, what I want is a big Frankenstein-style switch. What we actually have is unplugging these 2 from the inverter and plugging them into 2 extension cords that come from the generator. Having it be automated would be nice. An inverter / charger / battery monitor / automatic changeover for the generator would cost about 5 times as much as what we've spent here. Currently, our solar panels produce more power than this system can use at peak, and over the course of a day, they produce more power than these batteries can hold. So by upgrading the batteries or upgrading the chargers, we could have more solar power here with the system we currently have. Any questions?
What is the total capacity?
Total capacity here is somewhere in the neighborhood of 400 amp hours of 12 volts, 4,800 watt hours, which is about 3 hours worth of charging with our panels at peak sun.
Okay.
Can you sell the extra back to the city?
If we had a grid hookup, we'd have the option. We don't produce enough extra to be worthwhile, and we don't have a grid hookup because it would cost $7,000 to $20,000 to get one here. That's why we're off-grid in the first place. This is the quietest generator on the market.
Important.
You've all heard the Honda EU 2000i at Burning Man or camping, I'm sure. This is from the IS series, so it's their silent line, even quieter than the I's. And this is a 3 kilowatt generator, which we never need. So it runs at low throttle. I'm actually gonna turn it on for you.
Wow. That's incredible.
It produces about 1 kilowatt at this volume. If we tried to pull more than that, it would get louder. We only pull more than that when we're running power tools. Next up is our utility space. This is common functional area. It's a whole bus, has a shop in the front and a kitchen in the back. Let's step inside and see the shop. Behind you are shelves with tools and small components on it. Nuts, bolts, screws, bungee cords, wires.
We have all of these shared tools because we're also a maker space for vehicle dwellers. I took everything and I put them into sorted bins with labels. I didn't even know what they were. And I'm like, what's this? And they're like, that's a ratchet strap. And they were like, how are you going to be the manager of this place? But then later when people would be like, hey, where do I get the socket set? I'd be like, oh, I know exactly where that is. And like a week ago, I didn't know what a socket set was, right? So as soon as I did that, it automatically changed how people use this space because suddenly everybody could do projects. People were fixing everything and then putting the tools away in the right bin, and I was like, wow, it's really working. This isn't the type of place where you can just live without understanding all of the work that goes into being here. The sink doesn't have running water, so we bring water over to it and we put a pump into it, and then we pump it with a foot pump, and then that drains into a jug, and then when the jug is full, we dump the jug. This is weird. You're not usually doing this in a house. After I learned what all of these things are, and I figured out about how often you have to do them and how long it takes, I made a list of all of them and I wrote instructions on how to do all of them, and I figured out about how many times they have to happen, and I figured out how many people live here, and I decided I'll make it so that everybody needs to do 5 of these things every week. And I think some of the people who lived here before were doing everything by themselves and nobody was helping them and nobody knew how. Once I wrote that out, everyone knew what their responsibilities were and they knew what the instructions were, and everyone just started automatically helping. It was so easy to do. It took a lot of hours to learn and write it all, but now it's not just one person doing all the work, it's everyone sharing the work pretty much equally.
This is our kitchen space. Behind you, there is a stainless countertop and sink. It's not plumbed yet, it's on our to-do list. Over here we have our fridge. It's a high-efficiency AC/DC chest fridge. We keep pots and pans and utensils and cups and stuff. Our groceries tend to the non-perishable side. If you look over here, you'll see grains, oats, nuts, canned vegetables, breads, things like that. That's where a significant fraction of our cookable food comes from. When we make meals, we try to make enough food for most of the people here. We have a Slack channel where you can just announce food's ready. We also have ventilation, same as an original bus, so that when we're cooking in here, we can get the smoke and steam out. And that's about it for the kitchen. We're gonna head over to the next section.
So Spar, tell me about the bus patch. How was the bus patch set up as an entity?
So we formed as a California Mutual Benefit Corporation. It's a non-profit that operates for the benefit of its members. A group of people can pool their resources and do something as a single entity that would be logistically prohibitive for them to do as a business. I could rent a parking lot and have tenants and rent out RVs, but then I'm a landlord and I'm operating a business. The corporation's name is on the lease. Everyone who is a member of the corporation can use the lot as if they were a signatory on the lease. It's not a loophole. It's the reason the structure exists. It's kind of like corporate housing. We are a corporation that has a parking lot with an RV that we let our members live in.
Did you get this idea from another organization that you saw?
Most of the existing instances of and case law regarding mutual benefit corporations are marijuana grow operations.
Is there rent, monthly rent?
So it's not a rent, it's a membership fee.
Okay.
Everyone here is a member of Bus Patch. To live here, you must be a membership Bus Patch. We have some members who don't live here. They just pay for access to the driveway, the tools, the bathroom, stuff like that. We vet new members by having them come in and meet the people that are already here, asking what they want to accomplish. Do they want to work on their own vehicle? Do they just want a place to park? And we get some people that are really eager to work on the electric or solar, or learn solar power stuff. And anyone that has that sort of drive is what we really want.
Hello, my name is Marina. I'm from Spain. I arrived to Baspach at the end of my trip around the US. I came from a trip and I was like, I really want to put energy on a project that I believe in. And suddenly I was completely immersed in a project that was teaching me about sustainability, solar panels, how to live off the grid. Once I was there, the first thing that caught my attention was, well, how friendly you were. There was like magic between the people who live there. There's like a synergy. We're all different. We're not like from the same ideology or the same background or culture or personal culture, and still it seems like Baspach has something that make us be together there and work together for something that I'm sure we wouldn't be working for if we lived in a normal situation, renting a house. I feel that there's a really, a higher state of mind and being in these projects, because it's really like calling society to like step out of, to like how you say, stand up from the sofa, you know, and to start doing things for themselves rather than just waiting for life to pass by. Our survival responsibility, we're giving it to like the state, no, or to the governments and to the banks, and Baspach is doing exactly the opposite. We are taking our lives and managing them inside of a society that is telling you don't do that, and that's very powerful politically, personally, collectively. Is going against the current in a moment where the current is very, very strong, and the fact that it's working and that so many people are supporting it and that is starting to be kind of famous, at least in San Francisco, I think is very relevant. And so many people will stop there to ask, like, what is this? What are you guys doing? I'm like, no, these buses are actually our houses. Like, they have solar panels, and then you always have the chance to explain things that people don't even think about. And then you have the chance not only to explain what you're doing, but actually to plant a seed. I feel like Baspach is one of those projects that are starting a trend that is going to become something common. I don't know if in 50 years or in 10 years, but I see it's like the beginning of a movement.
So how do you guys stay here? I mean, don't you get busted out? Is it legal to stay here?
We had the cops called on us once because a neighbor thought we were squatting here. The cops came, we explained the situation, they left. The lot is zoned residential, so our use is legitimate.
So what kind of insurance do you get for this bus?
So I've changed the title and registration on all of them to motorhome.
Okay.
So I get insurance through a couple of companies that you've heard of for custom-built RV, basically.
Got it. So you don't come saying, like, I have a bus to insure, and it's
No.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Also, the corporation that leases the lot that we're all members of has liability insurance and garage keepers insurance, which covers vehicles stationary on the lot, and automotive comprehensive insurance while vehicles are being operated on the lot. I didn't make just one decision to start Baspach. I moved into a vehicle so that I could tour around the country. I ended up living in San Francisco, and I ended up with owning multiple large vehicles at once. The idea of sharing a lot with other vehicle dwellers had occurred to me. Once I had 3 transit buses, it occurred to me that I could do it by myself. I could just start a space, have room for half a dozen people, we could make it happen. So I started looking at Craigslist, I found a lot, I invited some friends who were also vehicle dwellers to come down and join us, and we started doing it. And that was 9 months ago.
Wow.
So not a long time ago, actually.
Not yet.
this is new and this is an experiment. We really have no idea what we're doing. Like, and to say that differently, like, we are writing the rules as we go along.
And you'll be celebrating the 1 year, I guess, anniversary in Oakland, it sounds like.
Yep, we got our new lot. We signed our lease earlier this weekend. We're going to be prepping and moving over the course of the next week to week and a half. And then Bus Patch 2.0. Bus Patch 1.0 on the last day, clearing the lot, down to no vehicles and just some dirt and some trash.